Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Grizzly Bear Sim's YouTube channel, and welcome back to Ravenport. This is episode number 3.5, I think, something like that. And let me explain what I mean by that. I have had a heck of a time, maybe I should say a bear of a time, in getting this episode recorded the way that I wanted it without any technical problems, not anything necessarily related to giants or anything related to the game itself, mainly my own stupidity. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, I can raise my hand with pride and say that it was just a stupid moment. I forgot to set or check the growth factor settings, and it was set for fast instead of normal or slow. And I was getting ready to record what would have been episode 3.0 or take one of episode 3, and I spent about 15 or 20 minutes doing things for the episode, and then basically realized that my crops were all messed up because they were fully infected with weeds. I was going to actually we were actually going to do some weed prevention during that episode, and because it was set for fast, it just basically went right through and went right from growth to ready to harvest, and it just caused a problem. So and when I tried to do another take, I ran into another problem that probably was giants related, but I've worked around that, and so here we are. So as you can see, I have removed a couple of buildings. Actually, I've removed all of the buildings. So we had our folks come in and they took away the buildings, all of the outbuildings with the exception of the red barn, and we are also fully into the horse business. We've got our small paddock, which holds 8 horses, and we have 8 horses in our paddock. So hopefully I'm not going to completely lose my mind and go bankrupt in starting out a bit big, but hey, you know, go big or go home, right? We've also made an improvement there by adding this shed in here. This will help keep our hay and our straw dry and help house some of the non-mechanical vehicles, because I don't think we would want to necessarily store. I don't think we would want to store our tractors down here, but essentially what we're going to go ahead and do here is just grab this hay bale here. This was one that we managed to buy at the shop, and we're going to go ahead and get this guy out of here if we can without knocking over the straw and causing other problems. But I hope everyone is having a wonderful, wonderful day. I have enjoyed playing with the horses, or well, I say playing with the horses. I've enjoyed getting the horses put into the map, and excited about what that's going to do and everything. I just love those tan colored horses like this guy right here that's eating the hay there. So those are some of my favorite horses. I think it kind of goes back to watching some of the old westerns and everything back in the day. Anyway, so I did find one little problem in the fact that if you have a bale of hay, as is the case here, you can't just it's not gonna allow you to feed it by just bringing it into the zone here. You basically have to unload it off of your forks to essentially get it to take, and then it will go away. So if you I was able to bring 2 over here, one stacked on the other, and it'll take the first one, but it essentially will not take the pallet that is attached to the bell forks, or in this case I'm using pallet forks because I'm lazy, and they work just fine. They do for hay. And so until probably one of those mods come out that I really like for bell handling, I'll probably just continue to just keep the pallet forks here because it works, and they can be used for both pallets and for bells. So we're going to go ahead and move this tractor, since we've had the engine running for a little while, get it away from the straw, because we certainly don't want to have a fire. And I think what we're going to do right now is I've got the growth factor set to normal. Hopefully that is, I can't see, the thing is I can't remember how I used to play farm sim before seasons. I suppose, we sort of mark time with BC and AD. I guess we have to sort of think of farm sim as before seasons and after seasons. And unfortunately, I really can't remember how I used to have that setting. I know that I had withering turned off just simply because I don't like to necessarily relate one game day with a real life day. I kind of just like to do things as it happens. And if I say, we might be in game day 2, but I might say, well, it's a brand new game day and it just happens to be later in the afternoon or something. So I've got plant withering turned off just simply that way we don't lose crops. That way it's not that I'm trying to take a easier approach or anything like that. That just works better for me. It works better for the storyline and everything. But I've got the growth mode set to normal, and by default it was set to fast, which I would think that would be I would think the default setting would be normal, but then again, I suppose it's possible that I may have bumped something. Who knows? It's somewhat new. The menus are similar, but they're also a little bit unique as well. And so anyway, I wanted to catch you up because when we last were together at episode number 2, we had 3 fields over here which were planted in cereal crops. We had these 2 fields, the field right in front of us and the field next to it were our oats, and then we had wheat over there. Well, something I realized, which I don't think I played with oats in Farm Sim 17 at all. I don't think I ever harvested oats. I think I was going to on Snetterton Farm, but I believe that was the only map that I had that was set up for oats, and never got around to harvesting oats. Harvested oats in Farm Sim 15 on a couple of maps, but I forgot that oats actually allows you to leave a straw swath. So we don't need to have a field of wheat to get straw, because we can get straw off of our oats field. Okay, so what I did when we had the mess up with the growth factor and everything, and all of a sudden the weeds had infested everything, I went ahead and just harvested the oats because we needed the oats for the horses. But I went ahead and planted these 3 fields in oats. This field over here, which I think was undecisive as to what I was going to put over here, I did go ahead and plant this field with grass, because obviously we do need hay. So we need hay, straw, oats, and water for our horses. And so I did that, and that I think will work out just fine. So we're going to go ahead and unfold our mowers. You guys have certainly seen me mow before. You know that mowing is something I quite enjoy. It's a nice, peaceful kind of thing. And to be quite honest with you, it kind of reminds me of my childhood, or at least slightly older childhood days when I was a teenager and maybe in my late teens and early 20s, doing mowing and stuff like that. We'll get our mowers turned on here, and let's see, that guy is already lowered, and then we'll lower the back deck, and then let's mow some grass. Yay! Mowing grass in Farm Sim 19. First grass cut. So what we'll do is obviously we need to mow this grass, we need to tedder it, and we need to rake it, and we need to bale it. So I don't know if we can cut any of the grass up on the hill there. I didn't bother taking out the trees just yet because, well, mainly I just didn't have time. Best laid plans of mice and men and all that kind of stuff. To be quite honest, it's just been kind of a hectic couple of days with work and some things going on around the house. Let's see. Let's raise those up and get this bit of grass here, because waste not, want not, all that good kind of stuff. Still getting used to the fact that I don't have drive control. I'm going to really try not to complain too much about that, because I know I did complain a lot about it in the previous episodes, and I'm not sure why that grass doesn't cut, but it doesn't, and so we'll just kind of move on. So I'll go up here a little high on the hill here. We'll kind of keep things straight and see how things go. I really wish one of these days, hopefully Giants will allow us to mow weeds. I would really like to see those weeds get chopped when we mow over them, because obviously in the real life that's what would happen. But how are you all getting along with your Farm Sim 19? Hopefully you are doing just fine. Hopefully you're starting to figure out some of its intricate issues and such, and coming up with your own workarounds and everything. Today was a fairly productive day on Discord. Over on the Simulation Gaming Society Discord channel, we found out a little bit about the future of some of the mods. Just kind of want to run down things that I happen to know. Realism Modding, who is responsible for the Seasons mod, they posted somewhat of a cryptic tweet on Twitter. It was basically hex code, I believe, and it took a little while for some folks to figure it out, but essentially it said that Seasons for Farm Sim 19 will be released when it's ready. Of course, we wouldn't expect anything different. We don't want things rushed out, pushed out too soon, because bugs and all those kind of stuff, all those kind of things. So that team has been top-notch in their development of obviously of the Seasons mod for Farm Sim 17, and I trust that it'll be just as awesome for Farm Sim 19 when it is ready to go. I also believe that Courseplay, the developers of Courseplay, are also actively working on revamping Courseplay for Farm Sim 19. I believe their holdup is that they need to get some information from Giants. Maybe they need some stuff fixed from Giants for Farm Sim 19 before they can really get their nose to the grind wheel, and we'll just need to wait patiently for that. Now, the bit of bad news in the sense that the developer that developed the mod that I've been complaining about not having the most, and that is Drive Control. You might remember he went to work for the Cattle and Crops team, and he is pretty much with Cattle and Crops whole hog, as they might say. And so it's possible that he is not going to be releasing Farm Sim or Drive Control or his other mods, and he had several. He had the Fast Forward mod and a few others. It is very possible that we will not see those at least released by him for Farm Sim 19. So what does that mean? Well, it means this. If he doesn't grant permission for these mods to be released for Farm Sim 19, then of course they won't be released, or if they are released, it's going to be released without his permission, and that's not good. That's not good at all. So we can maybe keep our fingers crossed that he will grant permission to perhaps a modder that he knows and trusts that will continue to uphold his reputation and everything for quality mods, and we might see those continue for Farm Sim 19, or he may just say, something, I'm just focused on Cattle and Crops right now, and I really don't want to have any sort of relationship whatsoever, and no, I don't grant permission to use to take my mods and port them over or whatever. So if that's the case, if it's the latter that happens to be the case, then we need, as gamers and everything, we need to respect his decision, and we need to. Now, of course, that's not to say that somebody's not going to. I'm going to try to mow this grass over here and see what happens, but that's not to say that somebody won't try to port it over without his permission. That's not very good practice, and I certainly will not. I will not entertain using any of his mods in my gaming or on this channel if his permission has not been granted. I I will even as much as I love drive control and I really miss it and I really need it, I will not put anything or use anything that doesn't have his permission, period. And I would encourage all of my viewers to do the same. And I know that I think I can speak for Eustace Pharmer and Duckzorly Gaming when I say that they will not be doing that either. What would we then be facing? We then could be looking at some talented modding individual basically coming up and creating their own version of drive control, something that is somewhat similar in functionality, provides some the same thing, but obviously is been created from the ground up by somebody else, and we have that option. So that's possibly would be the option or the direction that I could possibly see this going, would be in that direction. What else did we learn about today? There are some fixes. G29 users, if you have the Logitech G29, which I do not have, we're just going to drop our front mower right there, and then we're going to back out, and we're going to drop our rear mowers after we run into the gate. I'm pretty sure that horse, I'm pretty sure that startled that horse. That's kind of cool if we could get some animal reactions to certain things. But anyway, G29, if you have a Logitech G29, the advice from Giants is to make sure you are running the latest and greatest version of the Logitech Profiler software. And of course, if you are a G27 user like I am, and let me get a drink of iced tea here, you cannot use the latest and greatest because it will not work. But if you are a G29 user, make sure you've updated your Logitech Profiler to the latest and greatest, and then it should work better than what it was doing. And of course, because I don't have a Logitech G29, I'm not really sure what you guys, what sort of problems you guys were suffering. So let's just jump out and see how our field is doing. I want to make sure that our weeds don't come up. So it's fertilized 100% and it's growing with 0% weeds. So we'll just kind of keep an eye on it and see how that goes. Let's see, what else? G27 users. Now, so like myself, proud owner of a Logitech G27, I know many others that have this wheel set as well. They are, I believe Giants has released a beta. Patch to address the issues with the G27. Now, as I mentioned on Discord this afternoon, I was first excited about it because I sort of misread the information. It was a note that Farmer Klein had left. So thanks to Farmer Klein for letting me know. I was a little bit excited because I was thinking, okay, great. I'm gonna make sure I take this patch this afternoon and then test it, and hopefully be able to tell everyone that yes, it has fixed the problems with being able to assign button assignments, or I think it's also specifically supposed to address the tension issue with the wheel. Now, the workaround with the tension issue with the wheel is basically start up ATS or ETS2 if you have that, and basically do that, and that will address the tension issue with your wheel. So because it's beta, and I sort of made a joke on Discord saying that I do a lot of beta testing myself at work, and I certainly don't feel like being a beta tester for Giants. I'm just going to wait until that patch gets pushed out via Steam, and then we'll see what happens. My dear friend Eustace Pharmer chimed in and said, which was kind of funny, and I agree with what he said. He says that we're doing enough beta testing for Giants, just simply playing Farm Sim 19, which is a bit true, unfortunately. But yeah. So I just want to say, and people, I'm not. You guys are all entitled to your opinions, just like I am. And I realize that we really haven't done a whole lot of role playing, and I'll try to make up for that either later this episode or in a different episode. But we're all entitled to our opinions. You guys can think what you want to think. You can feel what you want to feel with regards to Farm Sim 19. A lot of folks are saying Giants released Farm Sim 19 way too early. Well, we happen to know that basically, Giants waited a month historically. I know we don't own this land. Historically, Giants has always released the next version of Farming Simulator in October. That's what history has proven to us. In this particular go around, they waited an extra month. So I guess they could have maybe pushed it to December, maybe to January. But something, people would have been upset if Giants would have come out and said, ladies and gentlemen, we were going to release this in October, but for some unknown reason, we had to kind of hold off on that. And so now what we're basically saying to you is that we are now going to essentially release it in December or January. The folks would be mad. Folks would be extremely upset, and they would be, they might be wondering, well, what in the world is going on with Giants? Why are they going to be late on the release, etc., etc. So there is a saying that you basically cannot please everyone. You can try very, very hard to please everyone, but you just can't do it. It's impossible. There is also an old saying, something that goes somewhat like this, and you often hear it in Texas or in the South, and that is, well, he would complain if you hung him with a new rope. Just simply that, if you take an old rope and hang somebody, they're going to complain, but if you were to hang them with a brand new rope, they'd find something to complain about. So that's just human nature. People complain, but I really think, and I'm not, Giants does not pay me a single dime, penny, nickel, nothing to say this. I am my own person. I don't want to be, dependent upon, saying things just to make a developer or whatever happy. But I'm saying this out of my own experience with having about 8 hours now with the game. I am saying this, and I mean it, that I like what I see. I like what I see. Yes, there are bugs. We're liable to even discover more bugs before it's all said and done. Last time with 17, they released a patch maybe about a month after the game was out, and it introduced some problems which they had to address. So there could be some more problems that we would encounter as time goes by. But I think Giants is committed. They have proven that to me. And yeah, we would like to be able to see software get released on day one that doesn't have problems, but it doesn't even work that way in the big enterprise software world, which is kind of what I'm associated with for my company. We release software, it's got bugs in it because there are scenarios that you just can't test every single thing, and I think maybe a little bit of that is what is going on. So I think we need to give it time. I think we need to be patient. I think we need to enjoy what we have. If you just can't overcome the bugs for whatever reason, then certainly fall back to Farm Sim 17 for a little while. A lot of folks are really having withdrawals from seasons. I get that. Go back to 17 for a little while until Farm Sim 19 is a little more stable, and until Giants or until the Realism modding team has an opportunity to get seasons over for 19. But just enjoy your gaming time, and there's a whole lot of other things that we have to worry about in our lives, and a little bit of stress over a video game, folks, it's not worth it. Trust me, it's not worth it. The other thing I will just touch on very, very briefly, and I cannot remember if I mentioned this in episode 2. I know I talked about it in the first, second, and third take of episode 3, which you guys aren't going to ever see because of all the problems that I've already discussed. But there are a number of maps that have been made available, that have been released for Farm Sim 19, modded maps. Ladies and gentlemen, stay away from them. They are problems. They are troubles. At least 2 of Oxygen David's maps, and I don't even know which ones they are. I just saw his post on Facebook, just briefly skimmed over it, but I wasn't even interested in knowing which ones they were. But 2 of those have been crudely, rudely, and without any approval from Oxygen David, made available for Farm Sim 19 on all those nasty websites that we've often talked about. Those that give you all sorts of pop-ups and porn and all other kinds of stuff like that. Stay away from that, folks. That stuff, folks. Have respect for the modding community. That you're not going to even entertain the idea of downloading something that has been uploaded someplace without their approval. And that's why I said, as much as I miss drive control, I won't touch drive control with a 10-foot pole unless it has the blessing of the original mod author or it has been completely redeveloped. That is my commitment to the modding community, to the gaming community, to my viewers, because this is all we've got. I mean, this game would be incredibly boring if it wasn't for our modders. This game might have a little bit of runway to play it without mods for a little while, maybe 24 hours of gameplay, 30 hours, maybe 50, I don't know, but it wouldn't be getting the 900 hours that I put into 17, or the several thousand hours that I know guys like Duckzorly and some of the others have put into 17. It just would not be the case. So respect, and I think if we as gamers, those who cannot mod, and I will raise my hand and say that I cannot mod to save my life, if we basically say no, we're not gonna tolerate this, we're not gonna put up with this, we're not going to, we miss drive control, but because you, whoever that is, did it without permission, brought it over into 19, we're not going to use it. We're not going to download it. We're not going to entertain the idea of going out and being subjected to those uploaded.net type sites and all that kind of stuff. We're just not going to do it. I think I think that would help a tremendous amount by basically sticking together and saying, no, we're not going to tolerate that. So, enough soapbox, I think, for this evening. We're at 28 minutes and 17 seconds or something like that to this episode. Uncle Cletus is very excited about the horses. He has put in a little bit of cash. We took out a bank loan for $90,000, and after selling all the buildings and selling some of the crop that we had in the silos, we took out a $90,000 loan. We were able to get the equipment, the additional equipment that we needed to be able to bale hay and straw, and also be able to tedder, rake, and all that kind of stuff. We were able to do that, and also buy the other accoutrements that we needed, and also get the horses. And we've got $52,000 cash. So we still have a $90,000 bank loan. I'm not so worried about that right now. I'm not worried about the interest on that right now. We're just going to kind of see how things go. Obviously, we're going to be getting ready to rake this up. We'll probably do that in the next episode, and probably do some missions or some contract work, because I know I said that earlier, but unfortunately we got kind of hung up on these other problems, and I got sidetracked, and so we're gonna do that because we need to keep money coming in. What I might do is probably be a good opportunity to send Billy Bob off to do some of this work. He would do an excellent job for some of our partner farmers in the area, And I think I've already gone over this area once, but I think there was a spot right over here that I wanted to get. And anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for watching. I really, really do appreciate it. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Hopefully it's not been too much of a rant on my case. I just think we need to give some patience. I think we need to respect our modders, and I think that we just need to enjoy each other's company and enjoy the gaming the game that we have, and just be patient. And I think that things will get better. Yeah, things are going to get better, folks. Okay, well, with that said, I'm going to go ahead and back up over that tether again because of drive control, or lack thereof. And again, say thanks for watching, and I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And I think I'm going to be settling into the Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule for a little while, and I hope you enjoy that. So until next time, thank you so much for watching, and I'll speak to you very soon. Bye-bye.